who don't know, Laura is on maternity leave, so we'll try our best to fill in for her. We probably won't be as good, but you'll bear with us. So yeah, for this feature preview, it's at the end of one of our builds, and we have a bunch of new things we can show off. Let me just zoom in so you can see a bit better. So right now, the latest Renku release is 2.10.3. So I've separated the new features that you'll see. They probably won't be all in one release. So in the release that will happen either sometime by the end of this week, there'll be some features that we'll demo today, and then some of the other features that we'll demo will be probably like a week later in another release. And then there's also a bunch of features that we've done and things that we've improved that you just won't see a demo of. But I just want to mention them here. So anyhow, for the demos, we have improvements to how we handle the Git repository integrations, the status of them, and how we handle code repositories. That was done by Ike and Lorenzo. Flora and Salim from EnviDat worked on support for ARM code-based environments for CSCS, and they also did a bunch of improvements to the build packs. Shekhar worked on this is more like a Renku Lab specific thing, but because we are going to deprecate our GitLab, we want to put some redirects for projects that are on GitLab that have links maybe in published literature or somewhere. So you will now be able to register redirects to those projects, so they still point to your new Renku project, so they're not just leading to like a 404. So Shekhar worked on that, and he also worked on changes that enable the authorization around groups to be a bit easier to work with. He'll talk more about that in the demo. Then there's two features that will make it in the next release. That is alerts in sessions. Wes and Flora worked on that, and Wes, I think, will do the demo. And then I worked on support for data connectors from EnviDat. And then there's a bunch of improvements that a lot of people also worked on that you won't get to see because there's no time, or some of them are not very demoable. So Mohammed worked on a lot of changes and improvements and additions to the acceptance tests. So this will result in fewer bugs that reach users, and also the acceptance tests being more reliable and easier to manage. Ike and Lorenzo worked on explicit session calling, and this is still a bit in progress, like some of the other things that you'll see. So we won't be able to demo it, but if someone is really curious, we can mention it and you'll see it in a later release. Lionel worked on ArcClone reliability improvements, and probably a lot of people haven't noticed this, but so this is session culling is when a session is inactive for a long time and we pause it. So the biggest thing in that feature is that now you will get a notification that will ask you, hey, are you there? And if you click yes, we will not pause your session. And if you don't, then we will pause your session in the next, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes or with some delay. That's the gist of it. I think that was Johannes.
Mm-hmm.
You can also just chime in if hopefully that was good enough. If not, I can stick around at the end and talk about it some more. Okay. Then there's also, so I was talking about the ArcClone reliability improvement. So ArcClone is the underlying thing we use to mount data connectors, and we had some issues when under the hood, when sessions restart or when things restart, the data connectors wouldn't be remounted. So Lionel is working on improvements for that, and so that when things restart, you can get your data connector remounted in your session. We tested third-party access to our API. We won't demo that because there's not really much to demo. It's just like, if you want access to our API, talk to us and we can we can figure out, we have a way to give you credentials that you can then use to authenticate directly with our API and use it. And then Samuel from EDUP, Alessandro, have been working on getting Renku to run on OpenShift, and we won't demo that, but I believe it is already running at EDUP on OpenShift. It still needs probably a bit more improvements, but it's probably a bit rough, but it is running, and we're making more and more progress there. So anyhow, that's about it. If there's no other questions or issues, we can jump into the demos.
Yeah, thank you, Tasco. I think you need to unshare your screen. Right. So I can now share my screen. Just a second. Oh, right, great. Yeah, so I have been working on improving integrations for the last 2 sprints. If you joined last time, we already showed the improvements on session launchers. So now we support images from private repository, from private registries. And now we've further improved the experience around code repositories when it comes to integrations. So this was the first project entity to benefit from integrations. But in some cases, the experience for user was a little confusing. I guess the most prominent complaint was from users who actually activated the integration once already. But at some point in their session, they did not have the possibility to push to their repositories anymore. We did a bunch of changes, among which we improved the stability of the integration. So there was a bug when it came to refreshing tokens. Well, the details are unnecessary now, but basically on the integration page, you could see occasionally a 500 red error next to one of the integration. And so it was marked as connected, but in some cases, we're actually storing corrupted state for your tokens, so you will not benefit from integrations anymore. IK did a lot of work to improve that, and now token refresh should work as expected. So hopefully you will not need to reactivate your integrations as frequently. And back to the project page. So here you see the most prominent changes. If you are familiar with integrations in code repositories already, you might have noticed that we are a little more verbose now when it comes to the labels next to your code repository. I added a few cases here. It's not an exhaustive list, but I guess it's enough to cover most of the cases that you might experience with your Renku projects. So the first 2 repositories are labeled in green, and the first one can actually pull and push, and on the second one you can pull. So if I open it, both are on gitlab.com, and I don't remember which one. So this one is actually private. So we activated the integration for gitlab.com. And now we can tell you exactly which permission you have. So for the first one, you can expect to be able to push new commits to that repository even inside your session. For the second one, I actually picked a random public repository. So I don't have special access level to this repo, but since I'm logged in, the system is able to tell you exactly what you can do. In the other entries here, I've picked GitHub projects, and I've not yet activated the integration. So for example, for this case, this is a public repository, so everyone can access it. But then we still recommend you to activate the integration, because if you have permission, it's possible you will be able to push changes in your session. For the last 2 entries, this is actually a private repository. Yes, so there is no way for Renku Lab to access it unless you activate the integration. Yep, so before actually trying to activate the integration, I want to mention that this information is now used also in sessions. So I added a launcher already, and if you try to launch your session, you're going to see a message to make you aware that some of the repositories are not accessible. So you can actually activate the integration from here. I'm going to cancel in this case and go back here because I want to tell you a couple of additional things. So let me activate the integration. I cheated a little bit because everything should be set up already. So I just need to click this button. And now the GitHub integration already includes my namespace. If it's the first time you log in, you might need to do an additional step for the setup, but it's irrelevant for this demo. So let's go back here and hopefully we are gonna see more green labels. All right, so now I can push to the Renku UI repository that was already accessible, but I didn't not have the credential to push. And now I can also access the test integrations repository that is private, so I could not do that without the integration. Obviously, for a non-existing repository or any repository for which you do not have the required credential, we cannot do much, so we're gonna show you this inaccessible label. There might be a few cases where you can still fix this. So for example, with GitHub, I mentioned already that I installed the GitHub application in my namespace. So GitHub let you fine tune your permission for this integration. So if someone shares something with you, even if you have already activated your integration, you might need to go to GitHub and update the settings. I guess it's not very clear, like we don't really show this information after the first time you activate the integration. So during the cooldown, we're gonna make this a little more obvious by adding more information for the user. But the point is, there are a bunch of other cases. So like this one is relatively simple. So we know you cannot access this repository because you logged in into github.com. You can check the integration if you think something is wrong. But then there are a bunch of other cases, like I can add a non-existing URL. And again, we mark it as inaccessible, but we're going to show slightly different information. What's useful to some of you is that if you are trying to connect to a specific GitLab instance or any place that we do not support as an integration yet, we're going to show you some feedback and also suggest to contact us. Like in this case, well, it's not very useful, this does not exist. But it might be that you just added a repository that exists and it's not accessible because you need credential. It might be that you added something that is publicly available, so you will be able to fetch the code, but we still encourage you to contact us to add the integration so you can also push back and change that you make in the session. Right, so this is pretty much it. Let me try to start the session so I can show you that now it starts because we're logged in into both services. Yeah, and while this is starting, I guess that was everything already. Yeah, so as soon as the session is up, I can show you that the code for the private repositories is there, and for the non-existing repo, well, we do not have access, so you will see only a folder with an error inside. While we wait for the session to start, any question from the audience?
So when you see when the launch is interrupted, you can't activate integration straight from there, right? You have to go to the integrations page.
Yes, but for now you have to go there, but you already have a link, so you can click on the link. You're going to be redirected to the integration as soon as you activate it. You can go back to the project page, and you will be already in the starting flow for the session.
Okay, I'm just wondering if then you have to like click launch again and you have the same thing again, but with like one repo less or something?
Well, it depends. If you have multiple repos from different integrations, yes.
Okay,
Though I assume this is a very
all right,
rare case.
curious.
Yeah. We're already working on improving the experience a little bit. So, well, now I'm logged in everywhere, but like wherever I need to log in or I need additional information, then we will show here exactly the information about the integration. Any other question?
I think we should move on.
Yes. All right. Let's, if this is open, I can show you that. Yeah. So this was the private image. So everything is here. And yeah, of course, if the repo does not exist, we cannot do much, but we're going to show you just the git error. All right. That's it for the integration.
Great, thanks. Next.
Or and
Oh,
something.
okay. Let me on my screen here. Right. So the next feature is related to a feature that was released on the previous cycle about running a Renku Lab session using CSCS compute resources. So if you've tried that and it works for you, that's good. And so like this new feature, it has to do with the Grace Hopper clusters, because making having like readily available and working container images for ARM64 nodes is not easy. So we worked to make this possible. So here I can show I have a very simple repository which where we will run just a very simple inference here. And you can see, I mean, I've set it up using Poetry, but you can also use like other tools that work with building from code. The only special thing is that for ARM, when you install Torch, you need to specify a source that will install with CUDA support. That you can run on the 4 GPUs that you will have when you start the session at CSCS. And then to build this image, so I have it running, but like I will show you how to create the image. So you go again to create from code. You pick your repository. You pick that you want Python. Here, let's say I want Jupyter Lab. And here, what is important here is that I want to use ARM64. So it's in the advanced settings here. So you need to know that when you will run for ARM64, you need to do this. And here we can pick, for example, paint. And this will build the image. Though, I mean, I've already done that. One other change we have is that if you forgot to pick the correct platform for where you want to run, you should see a message that says that you have built environment for the wrong platform. So this should make it much easier now to create Python environments that you can run interactively at CSCS, because that's going to be very similar to how you build environments to run on regular Renku Lab, on the regular Renku Lab. So here as the demo, we can open, I started the session a bit before so that wouldn't take too long to start. Okay. So here we can open the notebook. We can also open the terminal to see that we have 4 GPUs that are very powerful GPUs, just sitting idle. So here, I mean, this is just loading model and creating the inputs. Should not take very long. And then we will run the inference. I mean, I think it caches the model and stuff. That should be pretty quick.
Yeah, Matthew? Good question?
Yeah, thanks. I think this is a very nice feature, but what I'm wondering is that means that any Renku user can then access CSCS compute via
No.
in this way, or you need to be a registered CSCS user, or how does it work?
So the integration works by having you, I mean, so we only access CSCS on the behalf of you as a user.
Okay.
So you only have access to the same resources you can access regularly. So if you want to
I
access
see.
clusters, you need to
So
already have projects and access, or you need to request new access.
So that means that someone who has access to Alps would also see Alps among the different clusters or part of CSCS that they can access, and someone who doesn't only sees Daint or that sort of things.
I mean, we ask you what you have access to as part of the onboarding process. So we just add you to what you told us to have access to.
Okay, all right, good, thanks.
We could make that more
Automatic.
automatic.
I mean, the
Like
issue,
you.
I mean, yes, the issue is that the automated things is not super explicit from the API.
Sure, but that's a technical things we
I
could.
mean, the API doesn't technically tell you what you have access to. That's the problem. So it's like we kind of need for you to confirm that you can run jobs on specific cluster. Okay.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
If I go,
If you submit to the wrong cluster and you don't have access, it will simply fail, right?
Yeah.
Like, it'll just reject your job, so.
yeah, and here we run inference. We should see it starts to get a little bit of load, and it should give the output soon. Yeah. I mean, this takes like 5 or 10 minutes on an A100. So yeah, I mean, so you can see like we have some Python processes on the 4 nodes. So this works very well for Torch and other libraries that use Torch. Unfortunately, like TensorFlow is very finicky, so we haven't managed to make that work. And hopefully it's not too much of a big problem, given that a lot of the like models and things that you get from like Hugging Face are used usually with using Torch. Okay. Any other question? Okay. So one thing that also you have to take into account is that when you build for ARM64, then you can only run on ARM64. And so if you also want to run regular sessions, you just need to recreate the same environment, but for AMD64. For now, it's like small limitation. We don't create images that run everywhere, but it should still be very simple to have projects where people can run sessions both on Renku Lab and at CSCS. Okay. Then I have also a demo for something kind of related to this, so related to building container images from code, we have kind of new things you can do when you build from code. Oops, no, it's here. So the first thing is that when you use the Jupyter Lab front end, you can now pre-install extensions. So the format is like requirement text for pip, and this means that this extension will be installed. So you will have it available in your image. The other extensions are for VS Codium. So this is the format that is created when you go into the interface and say add this extension to recommendations. So we will pre-install the extensions you list in your project as recommendations. One more thing is you can write init scripts, so things that run when you start your session. So it's a bit of a like very kind of specific use case, but like it's very annoying to do as a Renku Lab user when you don't know how to do it. So we've made it very simple. Yep. So here
The scripts run before,
yeah, the scripts are run just before we start the front end.
like before VS Code or Jupyter Lab or whatever it is starts.
And so, for example, here with Jupyter Lab, we can see, I mean, if we open the logs, we can see that it loaded the Jupyter AI extension, like it did all of these model things. And now if you have API keys, you can talk to models and stuff. And one more thing is that this extension manager interface in Jupyter Lab, if you tried to use it in the current Renku Lab, it wasn't working. And now it is working. But the thing is that if you install it this way, it's not permanently installed. So like using the Jupyter extensions file in your project is preferred, but you can still try extensions. The only thing is that you have to kind of restart the Jupyter Lab server. So you have to go here and click shutdown. And it should kind of kick me off the interface in a second.
Restart itself.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know why it didn't kick me off. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of restarting. But here you can see that it's loading EnviGrader. And this extension will survive when you pause and resume your session. Is it? Yeah, it should be starting in a second. And so for VS Codium, I think like the advantage now when you pre-install is that the startup time is faster because extensions are already installed. And we can see them here. And we can install more extensions. And I mean, I don't know this one, but like if you click add to workspace recommendations, this is this file. No, it's not. I mean, this is how you can control them. I think should be it. So yeah, I can show here. I mean, it's not set up properly, but I've installed it and it's running EnviGrader extension. Okay, yeah. So I think I should stop here.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Next, I will actually just share my screen. Okay, yeah, let me know if you can't hear me well. I'm not super close to the mic, but it should be sufficient. So, as many of you know, the previous version of Renku was very tightly integrated with GitLab, and we deployed GitLab together with Renku. It's accessible at gitlab.renkulab.io, that domain. But with the new version of Renku, this is not how we expect people to use Renku anymore. We expect you to come with your own like a place for keeping your code repositories. It could be GitLab still, but it would have to be a different instance, like the data science instance or the public GitLab.com. We support GitHub and so on. So you now have a lot more options for where you can keep your code, and we don't really need to support the Renku Lab GitLab anymore. So we're shutting it down in January, as I hope all of you know. And to ease that transition, we are making it possible to register redirects because we know in some cases these URLs to GitLab projects have escaped and have been shared and people rely on them. And so we want to make it possible for you to redirect anyone who visits your old GitLab projects. Those visitors should get sent to the new place where you are now hosting this code. So I've set up kind of an example here. In practice, like this will not be this URL, it'll actually be gitlab.renkulab.io. But for this demonstration, I've created this kind of like faux GitLab that I'm running on this domain. And now when I access this GitLab project, the foo namespace, the bar project, I'm going to get redirected to the Renku UI project. So let me just show you, right, what it looks like from an HTTP perspective when a HTTP request is made to this URL. You get a 301 response, which is a permanently moved response, taking you to the new location. And this is what it looks like when you hit it from a browser. So that's the same URL there. I'm going to go there. It's going to take a second. And now I am going to appear at GitHub on the Renku UI project, which is what I specified. Should be the new target for this project. So if you have projects that were like exposed to the world from the old gitlab.renkulab.io, you should use this form to register a redirect if you wish, so that people get taken to the new location for your project. So, right, that's the first thing I want to show. Second thing I want to show, let me come over here. So we have changed, this is a totally different topic. So we have changed the rules around how authorization, authorization rules around groups and the editor role in groups. So I have here a project that was created by another user. This user is Chromacree Demo. It was created by the Chromacree user, but this user was added as an editor to this project. In this case, I can modify things about the project. That's the idea of the editor role. So I can change this description. All right, and I'm allowed to do that. But we realize that is a bit kind of counterintuitive for the case where a user is an editor on the group. That is more intended to allow users, some designated user to put projects into the group, for example, but it's not intended to allow that user to have editor access to all of the projects within the group. So you can imagine a research group where there's the group leader who should have administrator access to that group, and the group leader designates a few people that she trusts to be like editors on that group, because people might want to add projects to the group, and the group leader doesn't need to be involved in all of those. So the group leader picks some people that they trust and makes them editors. And that should allow those people to put project into the group and maybe modify some of the things about the group, but not about the projects that are within the group in general. So that's the change that we've made. I'm going to add that user to this group as an editor. And we have some nicer description of what these various roles allow the user to do. I'm going to add that user. Now I'm switching roles. I'm on a different browser window. This is the other user who now has access to the group. This user didn't have access to the group a second ago. And now I can see the projects in that group. And when I look at this project, you can see, for example, I can't change anything about the project. This user just has viewer, equivalent to viewer access on the projects within the group, unless they have editor access through a different path. So just being a group editor only gives you, in general, viewer access to the projects within that group, which we hope will make it easier and more attractive for people to use groups and make people editors. They no longer have to fear that users are going to get like escalated privileges when that's not the intention. Okay, so are there any questions about that? This might have impacts for some of you. If you have a group set up and have people designated as editors, those editors will have lower access than they currently do right now. And if you want them to retain the current access that they do, you'll either have to make them administrators in the group, or you'll have to give them editor access to the projects in the group that they should be able to modify. Okay, so there's no questions about that. I'll continue.
The owner can still modify all the projects.
The owner access has
Everything
not
else.
changed. Yes, the owner can see all the projects in the group, can modify all the projects in the group. Yes, that is correct. So they inherit owner equivalent access to the projects. That's correct. This last one is more of a minor thing, but we've gone through all of the forms in Renku and just made them a bit more uniform so that they all have a more similar look and more similar kind of way of navigating them. So I'm just showing one example where we've changed the amount of boldness on the labels to make them set out a little bit more. We've changed the distance between the different fields. We've put the description always below the field, so that's in a standard place always. And we've also put the error messages in a standard place. So that's just to try to make Renku a little bit more comfortable to use, where we don't have different conventions on different forms. That should be uniform now. So that's another minor change that will be subtle, but you might notice when looking at the new version of Renku. So that's all that I have to share. If there's no questions, I'll hand it to the next person.
Great, thank you.
Wes is next with alerts and sessions, which is a pretty cool feature.
Let me show the screen. Can everyone see him?
Yeah,
Good.
Okay, great. So this is the session alerts feature. The motivation kind of behind building this is that we wanted to enable users to be alerted about what's going on in their session in a timely manner to existing issues or potential issues with their sessions. Because for a while we've had to manually notify users by email when their sessions have been restarted, for running out of memory or because the disk space is filled up or whatever. And it's obviously that was not ideal for multiple reasons. It wasn't timely at all. It was, often I don't think people would really check their emails at the same time that they're on their Renku sessions. Their email address might be, they might be using their academic email address, which they might not check very often. So that obviously, and it was work for us. So that's kind of the reason behind that. So as you can see here, we've got 2 active alerts at the moment. Initially, we're going to have 3 alerts on renkulab.io, which will be automatically sent to users. They are for high memory usage, which is this one here at the bottom. Another one for low disk space, and the third one will be for to alert you that your session's been restarted for running out of memory. Obviously, that's more of a reactive one than a proactive one, but hopefully these low disk space and the high memory usage ones should hopefully be more proactive, or well, should be hopefully practically addressed. When alerts created, this popover will automatically appear and appear open in the session UI, so it's immediately clear to people that something needs their attention, and it can be closed like that, so it's not fully interrupting work. So if you are using over 90% of your allocated memory, for example, for your session, and you know that and it's okay, then you don't have to have it in your face the whole time. So it can be closed, but alerts can't be dismissed without actually addressing the cause of the alert. And when an alert's been resolved, it won't show in the UI anymore. So the only thing that will show are active alerts. Alerts have a title and they have a description or a message, and those can render it in Markdown. On RenkuLab.io, the automatic alerts that we defined in the three I mentioned earlier, they will include links to pages in the Renku docs, which provides more information about why the alert's firing and some steps to remediate the issue. So here, for example, it's a high memory usage one. So obviously right now this isn't live yet. So this alert is this link here is this link here is dead, but it will go to here. It will go here, which provides a bit of information, but you're using 100% of your memory, what this kind of means for your session, and what you can do to try and prevent it and resolve it. Here's one for the memory for your alert being restarted for running, your session being restarted for running out of memory, and then here's the one for low disk space. So the idea is that we provide just a short kind of overview here, what's going on, and then if people need more information, they can find it there. We've developed 4 endpoints to provide the functionality for the alert for alerts. The first one, the post one, which allows to create an alert. Then we have the get endpoint, which is to get the alerts for the logged in user for the session that they specify. Then there's another one to patch an alert to resolve it. And then one webhook endpoint for Prometheus Alert Manager. So we use Prometheus Alert Manager for monitoring our infrastructure and to alert us on it. We get our alerts in Slack at the moment. So we also monitor user sessions at the moment using that stack. And we've configured the alerts so these automatic alerts that I mentioned, those are all configured in Prometheus Alert Manager. And we've developed the Alert Manager webhook to provide like a layer of abstraction over these 3, let's say, standard endpoints, so that we can handle the webhooks from Alert Manager. This is if there's demand for like more endpoints in the future. So if there's other monitoring stacks or alerting stacks people have, and they want to be able to send alerts to users through that instead, that can be added as well. But for now, we just have support for these 3 standard endpoints and the Alert Manager webhook endpoint. And in order to send the alerts to a dedicated webhook endpoint here, a new client is created in the Renku realm on Renku's Keycloak, and a new realm role is created here. So we've got the Renku admin one, which is the only one we've had so far that we've created, and we've added this new. Well, if you enable the alerts functionality in the Helm chart, it will create this new role, Alert Manager webhook. So in addition to the documentation about specific alerts, we've also added documentation here about configuring Alert Manager to send alerts to user sessions. It really just goes over the way that we have things set up, because that's obviously the only use case we have at the moment. So if you have the same stack as us, then this tells you how to configure it, right? And it tells you what what you need to be able to monitor and send alerts. Yeah, it's just a step-by-step guide, and I've even got the alerts here that this is how they are defined in our these are the Prometheus queries that we use for our alerts. This is how it's defined in our alert manager configuration. Yeah, the whole idea is basically this is a starting point for more things, so we can keep users more informed about their Renku namespaces and projects and their accounts. But for now, yep, this is hopefully this will help users be more informed. And yeah, I just want to say thank you to Flora for her support and input for when we're developing this.
Awesome, thank you.
Very cool.
I think a lot of people appreciate that.
Oh, should we show that if you like kill your candle or do something like the alert stops?
Oh yeah, okay. If I killed, yeah, if I let's go that way. If I kill the if I restart the kernel, yeah, it's not instant, but it'll hide the alerts when it's got that all sorted. See, it's probably about a minute, I think. Depending, you can speed things up by scraping Prometheus more often. We query the Renku data service. The UI queries the Renku data services once every second for alerts. So the only kind of delay is really how often Prometheus examines checks the state of your infrastructure, which can be configured by your scrape interval. Yeah, I'll give it a minute and that will disappear. Yeah, any questions or anything else?
Matthew, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe just one thing. So you've defined so far these two types of alert, low disk space and high memory usage. You're planning to, or you're thinking of other kind of alerts that you want to show there, or can people define their own alerts, or what's the plan?
So Renku administrators, if you're running your own instance of Renku, you can, you can define basically any alert you want. The idea behind creating or the reason why we have our own endpoints here and not just the alert manager one is so that we can also, so I as a Renku administrator, I can send alerts to people as well. So for example, if we need to have some downtime, I can send an alert to all activity sessions saying, please make sure your work's saved or something like that, right? It's tried to be as generic as possible so people can have the alerts one. Yeah, users can't select which alerts they receive and which ones they don't receive at the moment. Maybe that's something for the future. But yeah, that's the idea. Yeah, we've got these three, but the idea is that we can have more. So for example, if there's issues, mounting your rclone data in rclone, if there's issues with your compute, anything like that is kind of the idea that we can it's something we want to expand on, but these are three that we've kind of started with at the moment, and it won't require like another Renku update to be able to support more alerts. We can just add those in as we want. So that's the idea, is that as we see more stuff that needs alerting that we think users would benefit from knowing about, then we will add them.
Yeah, okay, sounds good. Thanks.
Yeah, not to be confused with notifications, right? I mean, so alerting is really like critical for whatever you're running. It needs to be in your face. But we're also going to build up a notification system for more kind of for other types of messages that you might want to receive. So in that case, maybe it'll make more sense for that to be more configurable by the user.
Yeah, okay, makes sense. Yeah, thank you.
There you go. There's the high disk space one gone. And sorry, that's the high memory one gone because the kernel's been restarted, and this space one will go away soon.
Yeah, thanks.
Right, last one.
Yep.
Thank you, Wes.
You can see my screen. So oh no, that's the wrong thing. Okay, so I work on Adding support. So I think it's AOG and WSL. VSL has this repository of data sources, EnviDat.ch. So we've been working with them, and we're also currently working with SciCat as well, like the PSI equivalent, so that we support data repositories from PSI. That's still in progress, but this will land in Renku sooner than that, but that's also not that far. So the idea is that if you go to EnviDat.ch and if you find, you can explore their data sets, and if you find one that you like, that you want to use, you can just grab the DOI and then go to your Renku project. And oh, I need to log in here. Okay, if you log in, then you can go and you have this option to import data by DOI. So if you go and put this in here, currently we support Zenodo and Dataverse, and a few other similar data repositories.
Any Invenio.
Any like, yeah.
Dataverse.
Yeah. But from this point onward, we'll support EnviDat as well. So if you go and import that, then we will go, oh, great. That is a, that one I already have. Wow. Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yes, I do have that one. It is there. Wow. Okay. I didn't think I would hit one that I already have. Okay. So I will wait. I have that one as well. I've been testing this, so I remember.
It's all of EnviDat now in Renku Lab.
There's just a few. So if I go and pick this one,
It's not there, I guess.
That one should not be there. So if I go and import it, it takes a few seconds. Okay, and it's this one. So we also pull the description from EnviDat. We pull the keywords, and then we tell you, okay, it's from where it's from. And then we tell you where, like in your session, it'll be mounted at a folder called this. And this is, we derive this from the name and from the DOI so that it's unique. And then the other thing that we improved is that now if you go and if you search, you can search by, so this will further improve, but you can search by the DOI. So if you do DOI : and then if you paste that, then you can find just exactly that data set. You can also, this will show up somewhere in our documentation. It's not there yet, but you can also search by the publisher name. So if I do that, then I will see all the EnviDat data connectors that are that have been added. And these are, so when you add this public data connector like this via DOI link, they're just public for the whole, like anyone in the whole Renku deployment can see them. So when you search like this, you'll see, like, this is just a test deployment where I've added 4, but in a real deployment, you'll see all the data connectors from EnviDat, and you can just, I don't know, you can go and like check which like here there'll only be one project that uses them, but in another case, you'll see all the public projects that use this data connector. Anyhow, this is all functionality. The search is the new thing, the functionality of seeing what is used where, that was already there. And if I go back, anyhow, I have a running session already. And there you can see, I just wanted to show you, so you can see these are some of the existing. So the newest one that I added isn't there because I have to stop and restart the session, but the other ones are there. So this one is one where there's some Excel and CSV file. And there's other ones, so you can see the data. EnviDat is doing changes on their end so that the files that you see, so that because in some cases they have some linking between data connectors, so I believe that will go away and you'll actually see the actual data rather than like, I don't know, I think in some cases they'll just be like an HTML file that says, oh, the data is here. So they will change that so that when you mount the data, you actually have the data that is there. And then, yeah, so that's about it.
And the data is coming straight from their S3.
Yes.
Right, it's just mounted directly.
Yeah, it's just mounted, so it's not copied. Yeah.
So this is relevant for anybody working on environmental projects, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, I closed my browser, but it doesn't matter. I don't know now. I guess I stopped sharing by closing my browser. Anyhow, if there's any questions, I can still answer them and I can get back into. Great.
Yeah, I do have a sort of question. I mean, this is valuable data, but and I don't know where did this request, or did you get many requests for this particular data, or how did you decide to go ahead with this?
So this is part of the this is part of a project of the ETH domain ORD action plan,
Okay.
which was focused on improving the interoperability and connectedness of the different actors in the research data space. So we have a project with EnviDat and PSI to make their data more actionable by making it easy to bring it into Renku.
Did any of you discuss with Michele in the context of the climate environment vertical?
Not yet. I mean, this integration is pretty new. I mean, the project has been going on for some time.
Yeah.
Integration is pretty new, and so yeah, there was a lot of like synchronization that had to happen on the metadata and on the data mounting and all this, and now that is all out of the way, and we can actually start building up some of these use cases. I mean, the next stage is for us to build a way to publish data in these repositories too. So
right.
That will be, I think, where the input from Michele and others in that vertical will be very valuable.
But I think because in the latest discussions around the vertical, I think Michele has also this idea of saying, okay, how can we bring together different sources of data for environment, climate environment projects, and so this seems like it would be a good way forward in for what he has in mind, right? So I think it's worth. Maybe I'll tell him to reach out to you, Rock, or I don't know if there's.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Then I'll do that.
I mean, we'll post the summary of all of this in different places over the next week or so. So there will be more documentation on this.
Yeah, but I think it'd be good if he has, if the two of you have a broader discussion in terms of what he has in mind and what could be done by Renku.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, good point. Thanks.
Thank you.
All right. Any other questions?
Just a reminder, I noticed and mentioned at the beginning. So what you just saw will be available on Renku Lab IO sometime next week. One batch of things, and then the next batch will be in like a week after that or sometime. So if you go to Renku, if you're excited and you go to renkulab.io right now, you will not see what you saw. So, but in a week or two, everything that you saw will be there.
What is the timeline? When are we tagging the release? On Tuesday?
So probably on Tuesday, but then, yeah, time that
On Christmas.
Yeah, anyhow, so yeah,
On Christmas.
get there. Just if you go to renkulab.io and you don't see the things, then ping one of us or just be a bit patient and they'll be there eventually.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.